The next thing that I want to show you is actually not so much best practice, but you can encounter it in newer versions of code, and that is a let. Let is something like var, but a little bit different. So let's say we want to create a function for this comparison, for this ternary operator. I will call the function company. Okay, let's say var company equals function and this, and I will put everything in here. So variables, and I will put the ternary operator. Okay, I'll remove this comment and I will tidy up a little bit things. Okay, let's just spread it out, and let's say company, and this should work right now. Clear the console log, run it. So what does let do? Let's say, I will say let, everything is let. Does it change the functionality? No, it's still working. But let introduces something called hoisting, and hoisting means that you cannot define the value after the action which calls this let. So I will just remove number of people and put it here, and if I run it, it will say got reference, so number of people is not defined. But if I change it back to variable, this should work. We can see the red dots are disappearing, so if I run it, it will work. Let's change it back here, tidy up a little bit, run it. There's also const or constant. So const is in essence definition of something that cannot be changed later on. Let's say people write, and I will put it like const. You can see here the JS fiddle gives you instructions. Const people write is initialized to undefined. So if I try to console log it and say people write, it will give me an error. So missing initializer in const declaration. But if I put var, it's okay, or let, of course. So it's undefined, and that's okay. But if I left it like const, it needs to have value. Let's say it will be number 3, and if I console log it, it will say yes, 3. But if I try to redefine the value, add something else, okay, let's say people write, not const, but people write is 4, it will give an error. Why? Attempting to override people write, which is constant, so you cannot do that, it will give an error. But if we would use var, it will say it's okay, so the value is 4. So constant is only for definition of values one time, and you cannot change the type. So the type that's defined first time. So what would be the reason to use const? Why would I use const? Well, let's say for this example, I will use const for people, and I will console log them here. Okay, people, and we will get in our console, run all the names. What would happen if I tried to reassign people again with values? Let's say people equal John, Sam, and I will add another name. Let's say Mark. I cannot reassign value, but I can modify the value. So let's say people push, and I will say Mark. And let's console log it, I'll clear it. And we can see here Mark is added to the end, but it's a modification of people, it's not reassigning the value, so that's the difference.